Hi and welcome to session 3, There is a Way, Life and Recovery. In this session, Pauline Peachy from Post-Abortion Support will be sharing lessons on how you can communicate with women who are post-abortive. And then Kathryn Attwood will share lessons on how you can talk to women who are considering abortion.
Many years ago I had an abortion. It took me a long time to come to terms with what had happened to my baby, to find healing and peace. I started post-abortion support for everyone to help men and women who've been affected by abortion come to a place of healing, to help break the silence surrounding abortion that has locked so many people in fear, grief and shame. Over the years, I've spoken with many post-abortive men and women who've had abortions for various reasons. I want to share with you how you can start a helpful conversation. The initial goal is to reassure that you care, to listen, and to help them start their journey of recovery. We're going to look at the following: how to change the conversation, post-abortion stress syndrome, the process of recovery, giving space for grief, helpful and unhelpful comments, talking with friends, hitting a wall, sharing hope. Often we can have an in-depth conversation about abortion, making the case for life, providing all the evidence that the unborn child is human and that abortion kills them. But for some reason, all our logical arguments make no difference. It's often the case that someone who has been affected by abortion is unable to receive the truth of our argument. Their baby is dead. They can't change that. It's all too late, and you're just making them feel worse. It feels to them that you don't care about them, the living, and the suffering they're going through. This is often their perception. We need to put our message aside and to start to listen to theirs. We can ask, I wonder if you or someone close to you has had an abortion? We can comment, it can be so hard to recover from abortion. It's never an easy choice. The trauma and stress caused by abortion can be masked by denial and aggression. It is possible to break through this protective barrier with kindness. The deep-rooted pain caused by abortion may be hidden, not acknowledged, as being caused by abortion. The person we're speaking to might not associate their reluctance to engage in logical discussion with the deep-rooted pain caused by an abortion. We must be careful with our words. A clumsy approach, an accusation, may result in defensiveness, aggression, anger. So here's your top tip: ask the question and be kind. Abortion is a traumatic experience. You'll probably see the symptoms of post-traumatic stress syndrome with those who are post-abortive, just as with anyone else who's been through a trauma. Some symptoms are more likely to be noticed than others. So there's anxiety, night terrors, self-harming, alcohol or substance abuse, low self-esteem, anniversary grief, depressions, suicidal thoughts, difficulty maintaining relationships. The list goes on. The Royal College of Psychiatrists performed a study on a large sample of post-abortive women on the effects of abortion on mental health, published in the British Journal of Psychiatrists, entitled Abortion and Mental Health. They concluded that women who had undergone an abortion experienced an 81% increased risk of mental health problems. Suzanne Babel is a licensed marriage and family therapist who has a PhD in psychology. She's also a psychotherapist with an emphasis on trauma and depression. In an article entitled Post-Abortion Stress Syndrome, PASE, Does It Exist?, she writes, no matter your philosophical, religious or political views on abortion, the fact of the matter is the actual experience can affect women not only on a personal level, but potentially have psychological repercussions. A post-abortive person who confides in you will have been through times of real difficulty. They may still be going through them. Be gentle with them. Don't expect to sort out their problems. It can be a slow journey, and our role is to listen, support, and love the person, even if you're never going to see them again. So the top tip is to be aware of the symptoms of post-abortion stress syndrome. Be gentle with those who confide in you. They're on a journey. And remember, your attention and care is probably the best gift they can receive at this time, even though they may not respond as you would wish. So now we come to the process of recovery. There's so often an untold story when someone has been through a very painful time. For most people, the things that have happened, the emotions that they have experienced, need to be spoken about in order for them to understand and process them. How can we help those who are beginning their recovery when they share with us that they have lost a baby to abortion? The best advice I can give is stop talking and listen. Until we listen well, allow the other person to share, we are at best going to have an academic discussion. At worst, we can leave a wounded person feeling attacked, and we don't want to close the door on future discussions. A parent whose baby has been aborted will have struggled with the feelings of heartbreak and guilt. They may cover up their pain with assertions like, "It was the best thing I've ever done," or "It never affected me." It isn't our place to convince them that they're wrong about that. We don't know what's going on in their heart. Remember, they are likely saying this to defend themselves from more pain. They need to be loved, not condemned. So here's your top tip. Stop talking and listen. Don't try to convict, convince, or condemn. We cannot see their heart. It's important to give space for grief. This conversation might be very scary for them. When a post-abortive person shares what they have been through, they frequently get flashbacks of the event. You might see this as they become overwhelmed with emotion and appear as though they just can't continue the conversation. Give them time to cry. If you cut the conversation short because you're afraid of them being upset, you're not allowing them to grieve. Reassure them by saying, "It's all right, you're okay," or "Take your time." Don't try to move them along from the moment of pain they're in. Silence can be so helpful. Be in the silence with them. If the weeping continues for more than 5 minutes or so, it would be a good idea to ask, "What are you remembering? Are you okay to share it with me?" So your top tip here is to give them space to cry and grieve. Don't fill the silence or move them on in conversation too quickly. Now we're coming to helpful and unhelpful comments. You might have thought it appropriate to ask, "Why did you have an abortion?" There is one reason we must resist the temptation to ask this: judgment. If the answer to that question was, "I was in the middle of a course at university," or and I've had this one. I had a holiday to Australia booked and paid for. It might be difficult not to reveal your opinion or your disapproval. If, on the other hand, the answer was, well, the baby had developed a deformed heart and brain, or I'd have died if I'd have continued the pregnancy, your sympathy might convey that they've done the right thing. But both of these responses are judgments. We don't want the mother to feel she is misunderstood, not cared for, or even that she made the right choice because her baby was better off aborted. We must listen without judgment. Instead, express your concern for the mother's well-being. Asking short but open-ended questions will help give the space she needs to express her true feelings about the abortion. Ask something like, how did you manage? Was it recent? Are you okay? It's not a choice any woman makes lightly. But equally useful are noises, such as, oh, It sounds silly, but this is really helpful. It shows that you're with her. Or unfinished sentences, how very, that must have been. So you have to keep gently giving her space to express herself, even if there are pauses in the conversation. You may be the first person she's told. As she verbalises her experience, she may understand more of what she's been through. It's important to give her time to think, and we have the opportunity to show her that she is love. So here, your top tips are: don't verbalise or express your judgments. Show your compassion. Are you okay? And be gentle. Talking with friends. All of the conversation tips so far apply to people who are strangers to you, as well as to friends and family. And it is hard to know how to talk about abortion when you want to continue an ongoing relationship. As long as we've expressed our love and concern for the mother, we can meet again at family gatherings, at social events, at work tomorrow, without animosity and damage to these relationships. I think that we have to exercise patience and discernment. We want to avoid burning bridges. We need to be brave enough to come back another day and ask, are you okay after our conversation? Or, how are you feeling after we spoke? It's so important that there is someone with whom we can be real. Many women who've had an abortion have no one with whom they can just be real. Your friendship and acceptance is invaluable. So your top tips here is to show your concern for her and follow up. What happens when you're hitting a wall? There are infinite directions a conversation with a post-abortive person can go. Each person's story is unique, painful, and traumatic in ways that sometimes make them difficult to respond to. Sometimes right at the onset of a conversation with a mother who has told you she had an abortion, you will meet a brick wall, a hard defence to protect a broken heart. Here are some ways you can try and bring the conversation back to a helpful place. So in reply to, I had an abortion, you say, I'm sorry, how are you now? It was the best thing I ever did. And you can reply, well, it is a difficult choice sometimes. Many agree it can be very hard to recover from. Now, if this comment is coming from a post-abortive man, You could respond, often the father's feelings can be minimised. Or even, sometimes the relationship between the parents don't survive. Or try to humanise the unborn child. You could say, how old would your baby be now had it lived? Another wall we can hit is one where the mother hasn't connected any of the difficulties in her life with the abortion being the root cause. She might tell you, it hasn't affected me at all. Your response could be, I wonder why that is. Or you could say, I'm so glad you haven't suffered as so many women do after abortion. I wonder what happened in your case. You might hear a man or a woman tell you, I had no choice. You respond, I'm so sorry. What happened? Then use the tips from the session to listen well to the story you're told. When you encounter someone who tells you, it was the worst thing I ever did, I don't know how to live with myself, you respond, I am so sorry, and wait for a moment. If nothing more is said, you could ask, was it a long time ago? Or, how old were you? How are you doing now? If you have a faith, you could offer to pray for them. If they would rather you didn't, you can assure them that you will pray later. We need to share hope. From my own personal experience, and from the 50 years involvement with many other post-abortive women, I believe that there is no real healing and recovery without Jesus. However, many times the cause-effect link is not recognised. I have personally had a conversation with one woman who told me that there had been no problem for her after aborting her baby. She came back to me about half an hour later and said that she'd been thinking. Only a few months after the abortion, she started using heroin. Her life has been chaotic for all the years since then. She had never connected cause and effect. Our culture would deny guilt, still it exists and cripples us. Our counsellors would deny the harm abortion does for the parent, yet the only relief they can offer is short-lived. We are diagnosed with depression when we're suffering from broken hearts. Only Jesus can give forgiveness, healing, and hope. If you have a faith in Jesus, pray for an opportunity to speak of him when you have these conversations. Do not be afraid to share the truth of his love. There is no other real help we can give. Even if it isn't welcomed at the time, pray afterwards for those you've spoken to. So the top tip is to pray. We've covered quite a lot together. As we conclude, let's review our top tips from this session. So ask questions. Be kind. Look out for post-abortion stress symptoms. Be gentle with those who confide in you. Stop talking and listen. Don't condemn. Give space for grief. Don't fill the silence. Don't express judgment. Show your compassion. Follow up with another conversation later on. And pray. There's so much more you can learn about communicating well with post-abortive women. I hope this has given you a glimpse into how you can have a fruitful conversation and express the compassion that you have for those wounded by abortion.
Hi, I'm Kathryn and I work for CBR UK. Out of my experience of standing outside clinic entrances, offering help and information, standing alongside those in an unexpected pregnancy, and seeing babies saved from death by their parents responding to the truth about abortion, I would like to share with you how you can help those seeking abortion. Over 800 abortions take place every working day in the UK. That's 800 women who find themselves in what they see as an inescapable crisis that has only one solution. We will look at focusing on the situation, focusing on the baby, focusing on the father, and focusing on the mother. Each woman's situation is so different when she is seeking an abortion. So I would like to give you some guidelines to help shape your conversations when speaking to women and men in an unexpected pregnancy. Though there may appear to be many reasons a woman is seeking an abortion, really there's only one: fear. Women are afraid that they won't be supported if they keep their babies. They might not have told their families because they fear their reaction to the news of their pregnancy. They may have told the father and are now afraid that he will leave them to raise the baby alone if they don't get an abortion. They might be afraid that they won't be able to finish their education or keep their job. They might be afraid that if they continue a pregnancy with a baby diagnosed with a life-limiting condition, they'll be a burden to those around them and the care system with the problems that they may face. Or they may fear that their baby's very short life after birth would be too heartbreaking to endure. They may fear letting down their parents, who want them to achieve certain things before they become parents. They may fear being considered a failure or a waste of talent if they become a mother. She may fear her abuser or her trafficker. She may fear divorce. She may fear death if she's found to be pregnant outside of marriage. Finding out the reason for her seeking an abortion will help you to find a way through the difficulty with her. Tip number 1, be a good listener. Hear her situation. It may be complicated, but there will be a way to alleviate the difficulty she's facing. Where there's life, there's hope. Hear what she's afraid of in her situation. Be an assuring voice, that she's strong enough to face the difficulties ahead of her, and let her know that she won't face it alone. She will be panicking. You can be a calm, peaceful influence that breaks into the rush of abortion decision making and encourages her to take her time. Pauline once said that for a woman to allow a baby to die in her womb, she first must let it die in her heart or never let it grow there in the first place. Help the mother to grow the baby in her heart by congratulating her. Tell her it's wonderful news that she's expecting a baby. Her baby is a beautiful, precious gift that has been trusted to her because she is capable to be the mother of this baby. This baby has a unique way they will impact the world no matter the circumstances of their conception or a diagnosis or family members' opinion of them or any other life circumstances that they're brought into. This baby is amazingly developed and already has every part of them planned out in their distinct DNA. Tip number 2, elevate and humanise the baby by showing the mother the stages of development her baby is at. Use pictures or video footage to explain how the baby is safely growing inside her womb. Talk positively about the amazing person their baby is and what a wonderful mother they are to their baby. You may find yourself speaking to the father of the baby. He might be in one of 3 minds about the abortion he and the mother are seeking. It's her choice. Whatever she wants, I will support her. Or, it's not the right time for me to start a family. Abortion is our best option. Or, I want to keep this baby, but there's nothing I can do. In the first 2 of those mindsets, we can reach out with one brilliant question. Who inspires you? When this was asked of a young man who had had a one-night stand with a girl who was 7 weeks pregnant, he responded that his dad inspired him. He'd abandoned him, and he was inspired to not be like him. He was asked if he would abandon his own child when they were most vulnerable. He was very convicted, and we can only hope that he was challenged to do the right thing. By asking a simple question, who inspires you, we can draw out from the person the characteristics that they so admire and want to have in themselves. We can encourage them to be like those who inspire them and do the right thing, even when it's hard. When a lady who was stood outside our local clinic offering information encountered a man who felt like there was nothing he could do to stop the abortion of his baby, she was able to encourage him to defend his baby from abortion and defend his girlfriend from the grief of abortion. She called him to be the man he wanted to be, a protector and a father. He went into the clinic and asked to speak to his girlfriend about an urgent matter. She, in the meantime, wanted to come out of the surgical theatre and speak to him. He told her that he wanted to keep the baby and would support her. Their baby is now a healthy, thriving young lady. Tip number 3, encourage fathers to be admirable and to be like those who inspire them. Call men into fatherhood and to protect their children. Most women who are seeking abortion, though they feel they've researched enough about the procedure, are likely not fully aware of 2 things. 1, what will happen to their baby during the abortion procedure, and 2, what will happen to them after the abortion. If you're possibly the last person a woman's going to speak with about abortion before she goes ahead with one, it's time to be very honest. Clinics won't explain the deep, painful impact abortion will have on her for the rest of her life. You can do that using the information Pauline has given you and find out more information on the PASE website. Keeping the baby may not be easy, but sometimes the right choice is the hardest one, but it's still right. Show the mother what abortion will do to her baby using pictures and videos if she'll look. It will be hard for her to see, but at least she can make her choice with all the facts. You are coming from a place of love. You love her and you love her baby, so you don't want to see either of them hurt or killed by abortion. Tip number 4, show your love for her by showing her what abortion will do to her and her baby. Give your time and energy to help find the support that she needs to go through the pregnancy and beyond. There are so many resources available that in my experience, we've never found a problem too hard to overcome when the mother chooses life in the face of difficulty. Tell her she's not alone. You are prepared to be her friend through this difficult time. It'll look different for each mother, and for most mothers, they will get on their feet with ease and carry on to be amazing parents with very little input from you. But sometimes you will help to open the door to resources that allow the mother to safely, securely and successfully become the best parent she can be. Top tips. The key is to share the truth in love. Hear her situation. Humanise and elevate the baby. Inspire the father. Share the facts of abortion. Help her walk into a hope-filled future for her and her baby. Pauline and I hope that the advice and lessons that you've received from this training will help give you the confidence in the conversations that you have with those you encounter who are seeking abortion or those who are on a road to post-abortion recovery.